The 2026 World Cup has officially kicked off across North America, and after just one single match day, the entire nation of Portugal is already in a state of absolute total meltdown. The opening game against a tactically disciplined opponent ended in a frustrating, agonizing draw, 1 point on the board. The media is already busy throwing out the usual tired excuses about tournament nerves, travel fatigue, or pitch conditions. But if you strip away the media spin, the real elephant in the room is staring every single football fan directly in the face. Portugal looked completely stuck in the mud. They looked rigid, they looked predictable, and they looked exactly like a world-class team playing with heavy handcuffs on. This opening match didn't just expose a few tactical flaws, it completely proved everything the analytical community has been warning people about for the last 2 years. Portugal has arguably the deepest, most terrifyingly talented squad of players on planet Earth right now. On paper, they have the quality to absolutely dismantle any team that stands in their way. But the cold, hard tactical reality is that they can only actually win this World Cup if they make the most brutal, historic decision in the history of international football. They have to completely remove Cristiano Ronaldo from the starting 11 and the squad. Now, before you lose your mind, start screaming at your screen and bring up his 5 Ballons d'Or, his 5 Champions League titles, or his status as a footballing deity. Look at what actually happened on the pitch just a few days ago. This isn't a hit piece on a legend. This isn't about disrespecting an icon. This is an active crime scene investigation of a tournament favorite suffocating under the immense weight of its own history. Let me break down for you exactly what we all just witnessed in that opening match, because modern football in 2026 has evolved into a completely different beast, and it is entirely unforgiving. Out of possession, the game today is played at a hyper-athletic, almost violent pace. If you look at the elite teams that are favored to lift that golden trophy, teams like France, Spain, or Argentina, they all rely on one fundamental, non-negotiable principle: 11 players hunting as a unified pack. The role of the modern striker has completely changed. They are no longer allowed to just stand up front and wait for service. The striker is your very first line of defense. They have to trigger the collective press, sprint at the opposing center backs, close down passing lanes, cut the pitch in half, and make life a living hell for the opponent trying to build out from the back. But watch the tape from Portugal's opening match carefully. Ronaldo, at 41 years old, physically cannot do that anymore. He just can't. His longevity is a miracle of human sports science, but you cannot defeat Father Time. When the opponent had the ball, Ronaldo was essentially a passenger. He stood at the top of the pitch, walking, jogging, conserving every ounce of his remaining energy for the moments Portugal won the ball back. And because he isn't putting any pressure on the opponent's defenders, those center backs had all the time in the world to comfortably look up, pick a pass, and cut straight through Portugal's midfield lines. Think about what that does to the players behind him. Think about the physical toll it takes on guys like Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, or Vitinha. They are forced to run double the distance, sprinting backward and forward just to cover the massive gaping spaces that Ronaldo leaves wide open at the top of the press. By the 70-minute mark of that opening game, Portugal's midfield engine room was completely gassed. They spent the entire match doing the heavy physical cardio work of their striker. You simply cannot win a grueling, high-intensity tournament like a World Cup when your creative midfielders are burning out in the very first match of the group stage. But wait, it gets even worse when you look at how Portugal operated when they actually had the ball. This country currently possesses a golden generation of fluid, explosive, unpredictable attacking talent. We are talking about Rafael Leão, Diogo Jota, Pedro Neto, João Felix, and Francisco Conceição. These are players who thrive on pure chaos, rapid positional interchanges, and dynamic instinctive movement. When they play freely, they operate like a moving shadow. Leão drifts inside from the left, Jota drops deep to link the play, Bernardo moves into the half spaces, and Bruno makes late runs into the box. It is supposed to be an absolute nightmare for a defensive line to track because nobody stays in the same position for more than 5 seconds. But the second Ronaldo is on that pitch, that beautiful flowing attack completely freezes into a rigid structure. Because Ronaldo is now strictly an old-school box predator who occupies the central zone, the entire tactical objective of the national team narrows down to one single, highly predictable script: feed the number 7. Did you see how many times Rafael Leão got the ball on the left wing during that draw, isolated his defender, but instead of driving into the box or combining for a quick 1-2, he had to stop, look up, and force a difficult, low-probability cross into a crowded penalty box just because Ronaldo was screaming for it? Did you see Bruno Fernandes pass up a clear open shooting opportunity outside the 18-yard box just to try a delicate chip over the top to find Ronaldo's head? The team completely loses all its spontaneity, its speed, and its rhythm. They became incredibly easy to defend against. An elite international defensive unit absolutely loves predictability, and Portugal handed it to them on a silver platter in their opening match. And then there is the suffocating psychological and emotional weight of his presence on the pitch. Ronaldo isn't just a football player anymore, he's a global institution, a walking corporation with an ego forged in decades of absolute, undisputed supremacy. His obsession with personal validation and breaking records is well documented, and you can see the profound fear it instills in this young Portuguese squad. When a young player makes a mistake or decides to take a shot from distance instead of passing to an open Ronaldo at the back post, Ronaldo doesn't just encourage them, he throws his hands in the air, slumps his shoulders, shakes his head, and visibly kills the collective energy on live television. The young players on this team look up to him like a literal god. He was the poster on their bedroom walls when they were kids. So instead of making the correct, logical, high-probability football play based on their world-class instincts, they play with an unconscious, paralyzing fear of upsetting their captain. They make the emotionally safe play instead of the tactically correct one. They give him the ball, even when it's the worst possible option available on the pitch. It completely stifles their confidence. Bro, this is insane. Think about the sheer contrast of what we've seen in the past. Look back at the moments when Ronaldo was left out of the starting lineup in major tournaments, how the team suddenly looked completely liberated, playing with a joy, speed, and aggression that blew opponents away. But the moment the crushing gravity of the Ronaldo brand takes over the locker room, the rigid predictability returns, and they end up grinding out a frustrating draw against a team they should have comfortably beaten by 3 or 4 goals. The opening match of this World Cup was a massive, flashing red warning shot. The group stage moves incredibly fast, and if Portugal keeps trying to force this entire tournament to be a sentimental, personal redemption arc for one man, they are going to crash out early, repeating the exact same tragic script we saw at Euro 2024. To turn this tournament around right now, and actually put themselves in a position to win the World Cup, the manager, Roberto Martinez, has to show an elite level of ruthlessness. He needs to bench Cristiano Ronaldo. He needs to unleash Diogo Jota's intelligent, high-intensity pressing in the center of the pitch. He needs to give Rafael Leão the total, uninhibited freedom of the left wing. He needs to make Bruno Fernandes the undisputed single alpha leader of this team, orchestrating the play with the same absolute authority he shows at the club level. They need to build a modern, cohesive football team, not a living monument to the past. Benching or dropping Ronaldo isn't about disrespecting what he has done for his country. He is, without question, the greatest player in Portuguese history. He gave them the Euros in 2016, he put his nation on the map, and his legacy is entirely secure until the end of time. But a World Cup in 2026 is won by looking at the harsh reality of today, not the beautiful memories of 10 years ago. If Portugal genuinely wants to lift that golden trophy at the end of this tournament, they have to find the courage to finally cut the emotional cord. They need to walk out onto that pitch free from the social media drama, free from the chase for personal records, and free from the tactical predictability that is holding them back. And the crazy part is, after watching that opening draw, every single player in that locker room knows it. They are just waiting to see if anyone has the absolute guts to finally stand up and do it.